Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, how are you? Welcome to the SECU Daily Planet Theater. If you don't know, the giant globe outside, this is the inside of it. It's our globe-shaped theater. Sometimes we show you cool videos here, and other times we might have a late-breaking announcement or something that this water just did. It's always important to keep your marine scientist hydrated. It's especially true of marine scientists. So, we have a special presentation today. It's part of sort of a new growing partnership. We're going to do this again. This is the third Thursday of the month, and we're going to do it again the next third Thursday, which is July 17th. And it's, you know, a combination of the museum and the Albemarle Pamlico National Estuary Partnership. Pretty smooth. That wasn't bad. We'll just say APNEP for now on. And I'm going to introduce from APNEP Jim Hawley to come on, and he'll actually introduce our speakers. So we'll have like a 20-minute talk followed by Q&A. I hope you inquisitive people will have some questions. So think of some, and how about a nice round of applause for Jim Hawley? Come on up, Jim.
Thank you. Now the main event is right here. Is Joe Luczkovich. Thank you all for joining us for the third installment of our sound series, which is running from Earth Day to National Estuaries Week in September. We're glad you joined us today, and we're excited about you may be joining us for our talk again this time next month. I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Joe Luczkovich, who's an associate professor at East Carolina University. Joe grew up fishing in New Jersey, got his PhD from Florida State University, where he studied seagrass and food webs and fish bioacoustics. So he does a lot of wonderful work. I want to know Joe is also an excellent boat mechanic, as we found out last Tuesday when our trailer broke down, our lights were out, and we couldn't drive the 3 hours we needed to drive. So this is a guy, he's got the smarts up here, but he also knows how to roll up his sleeves and do the dirty work too. So we're very pleased to have him here today. Again, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Joe Luczkovich.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you all.
Yeah, this is great. This is amazing space. I've never spoken in a round room shaped like the planet Earth. And I am a biologist at East Carolina. I've been teaching ichthyology. Does anybody know what that is? The study of fish and estuarine ecology for about 25 years there. And I've been fortunate enough to hook up with the APNEP team to study our state's seagrasses, which I studied in Florida before this. Now, I'd like to begin with my very first slide, which is a video, to introduce you to what seagrasses are. And it comes from PBS, a program called Changing Seas. It's very short, 2 minutes.
They are an ancient species of flowering plants that grow submerged in all of the world's oceans, from the latitudes of northern Alaska to the tip of South America. Seagrasses evolved during the age of the dinosaurs nearly 100 million years ago, and are found today in bays and estuaries around the globe. In shallow tropical and subtropical waters, these prairies of the sea link the offshore coral reefs with coastal mangrove forests. They provide food and shelter for many marine species that will one day inhabit the reefs. Seagrasses and mangroves stabilize coastal sediments and create buffers against storm surge and flooding. They remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, filter contaminants from coastal waters, and add value to local economies. But seagrasses are in decline globally, and mangroves are being lost to coastal development.
These areas are degrading right now. It's not 50 years from now or 100 years from now, but it's occurring right now.
The rate at which we're losing seagrass habitat globally could result in an ecosystem collapse from the bottom of the food chain all the way up.
Will restoring seagrass and mangrove communities help sustain the ecological and economic values of the oceans, bays, and estuaries? And how will rising sea levels impact their survival in the future?
Okay, that's a PBS program, and you can see it on YouTube for free, the whole thing. I'm just going to now switch into our local environment and tell you first two parts of the talk today. Introduce you to the biology of the seagrasses that we have in our state, and then secondly tell you a little bit about what I've been doing with APNEP and the other partners to monitor and map seagrasses and how we might actually restore some of the losses that we've seen. This is a nice little book diagram from a marine biology text showing a grass blade coming up to the surface. Now you see this got a rhizome or a underground stem. So most of the plant is actually underground and it shoots up leaves at intervals. So they call that a short shoot. And this is the underground stem. And there are roots. So it's a flowering plant or an angiosperm. Angiosperms are plants that have flowers. That means that this plant once lived on land. Its ancestors moved back into the sea. It's different than algae. It has vascular bundles. It has air spaces right here in the leaves. That makes the leaves float. And they get light from the sun and turn it into carbon and sugar. Okay? Now, that's the base of the food web in our coastal waters. We've discovered that seagrasses are some of the most productive plants on the planet. When you measure their productivity, 500 to 4,000 grams of carbon per meter square per year. That's the highest, one of the highest that's ever been measured. So the food web is really based in our North Carolina estuaries on seagrasses. I'm going to show you a little bit of a mathematical model of that in a little bit. I want to point out that these plants have flowers, and the flowers then produce seeds. The flowers are pollinated by currents, so it's important to have seeds from these plants be in the soil for the next generation. We think that crabs and fish actually move the seeds about, just like squirrels do in a forest. So the fish and the crabs and the shrimp that live in the grass beds of North Carolina are super important too. They're all interconnected in this web of life. The seagrasses depend on the animals to move their seeds around. In return, the plants provide protection from predators. It's a good place to hide. I'll show you a couple of examples of a shrimp that's absolutely perfectly camouflaged to live in a grass bed. Some of the species that live in seagrasses are things that we eat: flounder, red drum, shrimp, scallops, clams, blue crabs. Those are all delicious things and very important for the local fishing economy. Finally, seagrasses help stabilize the sediment. In that little short video, you saw a storm hitting the beach, and that storm was causing erosion. Well, seagrasses help prevent erosion loss. So all of these reasons we say are important ecological services why we should protect seagrass. This little chart is taken from a journal called Bioscience in December of 2006 by Robert Orth, lead author, and a whole bunch of other authors, including Judd Kenworthy, who works with us on the APNEP project. And this little diagram shows, first of all, it lists the ecological services or ecosystem services for seagrasses. You see high biomass, high productivity, trophic transfer, which means food going across habitats between one type of habitat and another, finfish